Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and pledge by Councilman Marlon Lewis.
Oh, I didn't even know. First, giving honor to God, who is truly the head of my life. Father, we come tonight, God, in your name, Lord God, to do the people's work, Lord God. And we thank you for this privilege, Lord God, to be elected officials, Lord God. We ask that you continue to bless each and every citizen in our community, in the state, in the country, and in the world, Lord God. Bring peace, Lord God. Bring unity, Lord God. And give us the vision that we will continue to move New Iberia forward, Lord God. We thank you in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gosselin.
Present.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard. Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Dee Dee Johnson-Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
Thank you. Item 1, public comment. Before we start, got to do the same thing. I'll remind you to put your phones on vibrate, and remember that this public comment, we just listen. There's no back and forth. Thank you.
Renee Stansberry for agenda item number 6B.
Hi, Council. Thank you for having me here tonight, and Mayor, to be able to share just some education information. I know you've seen me here a couple times before, but I was just coming to show support for this discussion that you're going to have on item 6B, and just provide any education and information that you have or questions that you may have. We know that 79% of Louisianians don't smoke, so there's more non-smokers than there are smokers. And so that's what we want to make sure is that we're affording the right to every worker to breathe clean air while they're at work and to be able to enjoy all the things that we get to enjoy. Just like if someone were to light up in here, they don't do that. And so we want to make sure that we have all workplaces and everyone has that right to breathe clean air and that we're reducing their exposure to secondhand smoke. All of you have received packets from me with information, so if you have any questions here tonight, I'll be happy to answer them for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Mesh for agenda item number 6B.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for having me here. I am here to speak in support of item agenda 6B. I know that Mr. Swear kind of broke the ice with his little candy cigarettes. But I, as a citizen of New Iberia, I, as someone who works in the healthcare industry, realize how important it is to afford everyone the opportunity to work and live in a smoke-free environment, especially in today's day and age of COVID. We need to cut down the risks as much as possible. And so when you're affording folks the opportunity to go to work and not have to breathe in that secondhand smoke, you're doing them a justice, helping them to stay healthy and hopefully stay COVID-free also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Landry against agenda item number 6B.
Yeah, just most of the time.
Thank you all. And I'm not here as a citizen. I'm not here as a parish councilman. I'm not here as a director of the Pepperplex. Today I'm here for a new time as a business person. I do want to quickly chime that I'm so proud of y'all for moving the Pepperplex forward with the things y'all having. I gave Ms. Marcotte some information on some of the way it affected businesses over here, so y'all going to see a good return on your investment. I understand what's going on with the with the ordinance and stuff like that. The state had created a law a while back, and it's handling this issue. It's working its way there. The information that Ms. Renee gave, and she's a nice person, 79% people don't smoke, and it used to be a lot higher than that. You know, there was a lot of smokers, and slowly it's taking care of itself. I have a business and a tobacco business, and I didn't like the state telling me that I couldn't, so we allowed people to smoke there. After a while, it got to the point, I said, you know what, we're gonna go smoke-free too. So it's working its way there, and it's just another stress that's put on top of a business owner. We're already struggling with all the COVID things and all the ways to go, and just one more, piece that we're gonna have to worry about. Running a business, you have all these issues to do all the time. Now you have to worry about, the cigarette police coming in there and, trying to shut you down and fine you. If we're gonna go with that, we could go further. We could go after Dr. Pepper. We could go after red sports cars. There's unlimited out there that we're gonna do it. And, I face ordinances like this. We have people come around July 4th and with all the firecrackers, they don't want it to go off, their dogs are howling, and it just becomes an ordinance that you cannot enforce. And, you're just gonna be putting a stress on the people. We can talk about the different ways, but I just don't see how the police are gonna be able to enforce this. So anyway, years ago, I had an aunt in the 70s. She got addicted to Coca-Cola. So, I mean, anything that we go to and any of these, issues that y'all going to face, I think it's just becoming more and more things that y'all going to have to deal with. I don't believe the police are going to be able to come around, but it's just an open topic, and, y'all can call me anytime if y'all have any issues, but I would like us to see just stay away from this and not handle it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comment cards? I thought so. No? Okay.
She's going to show support, but not.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, item 2A.
Acceptance of the minutes of February 1st, 2022, which will publish on February 16th, 2022.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by the Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Markcott. Is there any discussion on our minutes of February the 1st? Hearing, seeing none, I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Three A.
Chandler Staples to address the council and give an update on the drainage and sidewalk projects.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I do have a few projects I wanted to update you guys on. We have Jefferson Terrace Phase 2 drainage. The last time I was here, CenterPoint was moving their line. The contractor met with them yesterday on site. Their time frame to move that line out of our way is within a couple of months now. So we're going to time our bid to kind of follow in right when they're finishing up. We'll be starting. So that should be within a couple of months for the Jefferson Terrace project.
That'll be the advertise or the bid?
We're going to advertise it in about 2 weeks,
That's what I
2 to
want.
3 weeks.
That's a 45-day jump.
And
Good.
then we'll be opening and starting right when they're about finished up.
That's awesome.
And similar for Dale Street, this one is the sidewalks
Yes.
from Bank to Jefferson Terrace as well. And this one is scheduled to open on the 5th of April.
Excellent.
Good,
The
good.
bids.
That's one that our $100,000 projects, council members put up money, 3 different council people. It's not quite enough. The rest of it will come out of our general fund, and I will be coming to the council to ask you to support that. But these sidewalks are definitely needed. The neighborhoods they're in, the communities. I mean, it is one of our areas that people walk more than anywhere else. There is no sidewalk there now, so I'm excited about it. I mean, it's a great partnership of council members and, us as a team. So I think it's going to be a good project. So I'm excited to see that bid out. Our budget's still around 300,000?
It's just shy of 300,000.
Okay.
Yep. So
So I get some money back?
No, ma'am, I'm just priming the pump to come back and ask everybody else to
so everybody
contribute.
knows. And then the final project that I wanted to just bring up was the Weldon Street drainage improvements, which is partially in the same area on Dale and Weldon. That one, the survey has begun, should be finished by Friday. So that one will be coming right behind the sidewalks.
Good.
Sometime after Jefferson Terrace, right behind the sidewalks.
Good,
So,
good.
Aaron,
those 3
can you
projects.
show the map of the sidewalks so they can see? Yeah, okay. So from Bank all the way down to
Good.
Jefferson Terrace.
Any questions for Chandler? comments?
I got a quick, Chandler, do you foresee any problems with contractors getting started? And I know that's the big talk.
I've talked to a few for this project, for instance. I don't see any issues. Concrete work, there's plenty of guys that are interested, eager. The drainage work, there's fewer people to choose from. And a couple of them are busy right now. But I think we'll end up with several, at least 3 bids for each project. But the sidewalks, we're not going to have any issues with the contractors.
Good.
Excellent.
Getting good pricing, so.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming. And so we'll look for a couple of months to get busy. That's good news. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 3B.
Willie Bergeron from CLECO to address the council regarding community programs to assist those impacted with high utility bills.
Good
Mayor,
evening.
Council, thank you for having us. Mayor, when you and I met late last year, we discussed the possibility of having our PowerWise program, our energy efficiency group,
Yes, sir.
come and address the council on the benefits that they can offer for residential and commercial customers as far as LED lighting upgrades and installation upgrades. With me tonight, I have Mary Ann Addy and Gary Guidros from our PowerWise group. They're going to come up and talk to you guys.
Good.
Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. I asked, Gary kind of to be with me. I've been with the PowerWise program for about 6 months. So although I've been a CLECO customer myself for nearly 30 years, but I'm really excited about the energy efficiency program. Basically, in a nutshell, what we do is we help customers become more energy efficient, help them find ways to stop wasting energy. And that means to help reduce those energy usage at home or at their business, that will allow them to free up resources so they can use that on other things that they care about. So we offer a robust residential weatherization program, as well as small and large commercial and industrial programs that I will try to cover very quickly because I know you have a lot going on. Our residential weatherization program is for residential customers who can go onto our website, contact one of our CLECO-approved contractors who will come out to the home. They'll assess where the leakage might be. So they run diagnostic tests pre and post. So they'll go in, they'll do some duct sealing tests, they'll check their air infiltration to see about the envelope of the house. And this is all really to figure out how we can seal those leaks and make things, so you're using less energy. So they'll go up in the attic and they'll check to see if you're qualified for blown-in insulation. They'll do weather stripping on doors, windows. If you have an electric heating system, they'll go and can install low-flow shower heads, which will also help you with your water. As well as they can install up to 30 LED bulbs in your home. And an LED bulb basically is about 80% less energy than your incandescent. So it really can be a huge savings. So we've got weatherization. We also have a rebate program. So a customer can receive up to $1,500 for a heat pump upgrade. Pool pumps is another rebate. Room air conditioners, smart thermostats. There's a series, and all of the rebate program, all of that information is on our website at clego.com/powerwise. I also brought a little bit of that information for you, which I can leave here as well. For folks who may not want to wait to fill out a rebate application, they can actually go to the CLECO Marketplace, which is an online store that we started in 2018 as a way of making energy efficient items affordable to our residential customers. There we offer instant rebates. So for example, right now someone can go online and get a Nest thermostat, for example, that would normally retail for about $129 for $8, which is the shipping charge. And that is $100 rebates that we offer on top of the manufacturers doing a promotion of of $29.99. So again, it's instant savings. So they're not having to pay it up front, but they're being able to get that. So power strips, water savers, which would be your shower heads, your LED bulbs, that sort of thing, and as well as programmable thermostats. A thermostat is a great way to help us all monitor our usage and as well as, use the more optimum times based on how the weather is. So that is another program that we offer. For our commercial businesses, we have programs, financial incentives, and for both the small and the large. Large can be up to $25,000 per buildings. We did a project at the Port of New Iberia where we helped 3 companies, and we gave them a check for over $100,000 to help them with their lighting retrograde. And they actually were saving about 1.8 million kWh annually, which is tremendous. Last summer, we were actually came out to Iberia Medical Center, who had also done a lighting fit in their parking lots. So they wanted to make sure that they had safe, area for their patients and their visitors. So they went ahead and they did a lighting retrofit. So those are just some of the things that they can do. We also offer rebate programs for HVAC systems. Again, everything that we do is to make things more energy efficient. So, Gary and our other consultant, they actually use a calculator where they're actually looking at how the old equipment works, and then they compare it to how a newer, more energy efficient equipment will work, and then we can actually compare, and so we can calculate how much savings those customers will get. So, that's, I think, great. One of the things that we're going to be launching this month is to really help our small commercial customers, because they've had a really tough time. I mean, we all have during COVID, and that's been something that we're actually offering a business kit of energy-saving devices that we will, they can go on our website, they can fill out the information, and we will get those kits to them. That will be instant savings, LED bulbs, shower heads, exit sign retrofit, those sorts of things. So these are just some of the programs that we offer to our customers. I know here in New Iberia, we've, over the years that we launched the program we're on year 8. So we launched it, I think in 2014 in the fall. We've offered over $1 million in incentives. So, but there's a lot more customers, a lot more businesses and residents that do not know about the program. I mean, I'm a marketing analyst. My job is to come in and promote the program. And I'm finding, I was a Clico customer for nearly 30 years and didn't have any idea that this program was available to me, at little or no cost. So that was one of the first things I did myself, was to sign up for this residential weatherization so I could see how it worked in my own home. And I can tell you, I definitely have reduced the energy usage at my own house. So, did I forget anything? I'm trying to think.
No, she summed it up pretty well. We'll have some information, like she said, to give out. I also have some that we can leave here, and we can talk details to anybody else who's interested. This would be for anybody who is a Clico customer. Small business, large business, schools, churches, residents, apartment complexes, this building. So if you're a Clico customer, reach out. We'll get you in the right hands.
He reminded me when he said schools that we also have an elementary education program that we offer in 6th grade science classrooms. And I was actually looking at the list. We've had about 8 of the elementary schools here in New Iberia have participated in the program, but we're doing registration again. This is a chance that it's near and dear to my heart because my background is in nonprofit and youth development, but we're actually teaching our children to become energy efficiency experts in the home, and they take a kit home with them in addition to getting the curriculum that their teacher is covering, that's really going over energy and water savings. So we're actually, I think, supporting our future generations so that they can be more energy efficient. So.
Sorry. All right, we have any questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we go to clico.com, and where do they go after that to fill out an application?
/Powerwise.
Okay. And does everybody qualify?
For residential weatherization, you have to, your house has to be over a year old. But we also offer a program, you don't even have to be if you're a renter, you must have permission from your landlord to participate. I also forgot to mention that we also offer this program, we have multifamily. So we've actually done quite a few apartments and as well as some, affordable housing. I know St. Dominic, St. Teresa were some of the housings here have done that program as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
With the weatherization programs, y'all familiar with the LAHEAP program as well, through community action agencies? And do both of those exist, do they exist together? Can, if they don't qualify for LAHEAP?
Well,
Ben's got it.
our program is actually, if you're a CLECO customer and you have a meter, you are qualified for our program. He was asking about LAHEAP.
Let me back it up. Okay, so I know weatherization usually is funneled through community action agencies.
Correct.
You guys have a separate weatherization program?
Correct.
Okay, and LAHEAP is something separate, so I kind of messed up on that, but LAHEAP is the light and assistant,
Correct. Correct.
program
There's
as well.
The weatherization was for, that went through the community action agencies, were more for the low-income division.
Okay.
They could go through that process, qualify, and they would, that weatherization group, that CAP group, would come in and do like wall repairs, ceiling repairs, anything they could to help seal up that house. Ours is limited, much smaller than that, and it's geared to just the average customer.
Like you said, everybody.
Everybody.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right, thank you.
So if there's a situation that we get into that we can't work on it, then their option would be to go with the CAP agencies. I came from the CAP agencies. I trained most of those and worked at the training center for years.
Okay.
Training the CAP agencies on how to do weatherization. But they have a little bit more funding for it
Okay.
on the low income side.
Okay, now back to the LAHEAP stuff. Y'all do rebates. Does the rebates and LAHEAP work hand in hand?
As far as I know, we don't justify whether it's a LAHEAP house or not.
I guess I'm saying if a person would get LAHEAP,
They
can they still get the rebate?
They can get the rebate as well, as far as I know, yes.
And y'all don't really work for CLECO, right? Y'all?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because we're gonna need the
did I get
rebate
fired?
and the LAHEAP the way we're gonna need the rebate and the LAHEAP the way the light bills just went out the roof.
Yeah, so as far as I know, we don't even have a way to check to see if the home is a LAHEAP home.
Okay.
So, if someone qualifies for the rebate, they qualify for the rebate. Whatever else they have working on the other end, Go for it.
They should look online to see the requirements because we do want the most energy efficient equipment. So, it might be a SEER level of 15, so don't buy a 12 because you're basically not replacing your unit with a more efficient unit. And the idea is to save, to reduce your energy usage. So, and make sure that you get it. We have a 45-day window of when people need to send in their proof of purchase. So, it's not something you just wait on.
Okay.
Well, it's good that they got a CAP guy involved. I'm a CAP guy as well. I was the board president for Smile Community Action.
Okay. For Smile.
Familiar, yes.
Yes,
Very
yes.
familiar with it, so.
I was there for 2000, let's see, 8, 9, 10. And then ERA ran out, that big chunk of funding.
Right.
And that ended my contract basically, so,
Right.
yeah.
That was before my time, but I'm saying they got the right guy that know the needs of the community because you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We definitely have a heart for this. There's no doubt.
Yes.
So is the only way to apply for this online? Is there a number they can call to try and apply for the program?
Yeah, we have we have an 83, well, we have a number, they'll have to leave a message, but it's 833-373.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Okay, I'm sorry.
373,
Yeah,
okay.
373-6842. Or they can email energyefficiency@clico.com.
Okay, that's my first question. Hold on one second.
That's fine. That's a good question. We actually don't want to get in the way between the customer and the contractor because we don't know the customer's schedule, we don't know the contractor's schedule. So our job is to put the two of them together. We do have an approved contractor list. We have three approved contractors that handle this parish that are on the website so that, they can choose and they can call and see what, who fits their schedule more. They're all go through a very strict vetting process. We have inspections, we do surveys. We actually do QA on every project that comes through. We look at pre and post photographs to make sure that the work has been done properly. We have performance, so we want to make sure that, everything is done to the satisfaction of the customer.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because we have a lot of customers that don't actually have internet at home. Some of our elderly don't have smartphones, so I just wanted them to have another
Yeah.
way of calling and getting on in the program.
Absolutely, and it's on the back of this, so they can call right here. Now, like I said, we'll leave this with y'all, so.
Okay, on the, like the Nest thermostat, do they have to purchase it up front and then you guys, and send in a receipt and you guys give them a rebate, or can they go through your website and purchase it and only pay the $8?
We do it both ways. What I recommend is to go to the Clico, well, you can go through the website, but also clicomarketplace.com. It's a third party, it's basically our online store that's handled by a third party. So they're actually selling the product for Clico, and we're basically rebating. So we're paying them, the rebate that for the customer. So if you go on there, they can actually, what they'll have to do is they'll have to enter their customer information as well as typically their meter number, because again, this is a program that's for Clico residential customers. And right now, I'm just saying that for example, we have a really good deal on all of our thermostats right now on the website. So that, to me personally, would be the way I would go about it, because then you're not having to fill out the paperwork. You're just getting everything right up front and not having to do it. That said, you're still going to have, maybe you have a handy and you're going to have to, install it yourself or hire somebody to install it. That's up to the customer. Everyone has different levels on, do it yourself, how well you can do stuff.
So the contractors that would come in and do the weatherization would not install the Nest for them?
They would not, that would be an added cost if they wanted to do that. Or again, that might be something, from what I've heard, they're fairly simple.
Okay.
So but again, I'm not a handy person, so.
I understand. Okay, so if you guys go into one of the residents' home, especially like elderly, and you see that this job is bigger than what Clico would, normally handle, do you recommend them to the community action people, or, what do you do next when someone, this is a bigger job?
Right, well, and, go ahead.
Okay,
If it's something outside of the scope of what Clico will pay for, they'll let the customer know. It's going to take a sheet of drywall to fix this wall. I can do it for you, got a piece in the truck, cost you $80, and they can do it. Or they can say, that's outside the scope, we don't want to pay anything, and we'll have to defer the house. If the customer does qualify for LAHEAP or CAP agencies, then they can go through that process. We can't determine that, but we'll definitely present any issues that are going to be of cost to them up front, and they can decide if they want to continue or not. Most of it is a quick patch. It's not an expensive thing. Actually, it almost never happens.
okay. So do y'all have an age range in the house? I know you said it can't be 1 year,
2 years or older.
2 years or older, and it doesn't matter how old the house
It
is?
does not matter how old the house is.
Okay,
I said 1 year, so I messed up.
okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, oh, you're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? I have a couple. We have a program coming called One Block at a Time. and we are actually doing some residential improvements in our community with some ARPA money. So that's going to generate a list. We'll have a board that selects the houses. It's going to be a long-term process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. But certainly my whole town is CLECO customers. So that'll be something that when we generate that list, I'm going to send it forward and would love to partner with you, because there will be some of these houses, I think, that will qualify, and that while we're there doing some other things, a lot of things on the exterior, we're not sure of the scope yet. We're still working that through. But I think that this would be a good fit, especially with the weatherization, with the insulation, that we could put that in. My other ask is this contractor list, is this independent contractors that work for CLECO but work for other people too?
Yeah, and I printed it out.
Oh, that's what I want. Good, good, because we, of course, all of our projects will have to be bid out. We'll go through a procurement process for each one. We're trying to decide how we link them together, like if it's handicap ramps, do we bid them all? If it's operable shutters, if it's painting. We haven't got that completely nailed down, but I really see a good fit with this program, that we could partner and actually really make, as much impact as we can.
All the contractors are vetted through us. They
Good.
have to meet all of insurance requirements.
Good.
They have to be certified and tested and up to date in BPI, which is Building Performance Institute. And they have to know how to run the blower doors and duct blasters, and
Good.
they're very well vetted.
Good, good. Well, and like I said, we have some interest. We have some contractors that follow the city around. We're blessed with that. We have a lot of projects. Don't elect a contract if you don't want projects, but any way I could add more contractors to the list that do this kind of work, I definitely want to. I mean, I want to open it up to as many people as we can and make sure that our money goes as far as it can. So, good. I look forward to partnering with y'all. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, does anyone else want to speak? I mean, I've already had the floor for a second.
Think you good?
Can I ask one more? Okay,
Yeah,
so.
sure.
I know this is great. We appreciate it, and I know our residents will appreciate the program. Is there any chance that there's going to be any kind of rate reduction in the future? Because the rates have gone up pretty high, and so we just want to kind of understand what's the future for some of our customers.
Well, I mean, I'm only with the energy efficiency program, so that's
No.
really all I can speak on.
He's coming up. He knows the question's for him.
No, we came here tonight to talk about energy efficiency and the programs. We don't have any information on anything else. I'd be glad to meet with you one-on-one later, and we could discuss it like we did earlier.
Sure. I just, because I know people are thinking and asking that question too. Okay.
Well, we thank y'all very much. I mean, I think this was a good program. Please leave us some information, and we will do everything we can to get the word out, and we look forward to partnering with y'all on the projects that are coming, because we're going to touch some houses here in our town, and we're excited about that.
Awesome. That's great. Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Can we leave some here?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sure,
please.
sure.
Do you have enough for all of us up here?
Good. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, item 4A.
Resolution 22-23, endorsing the application of New School Days Apartments LLC for the Restoration Tax Program.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Tina Johnson-Reed, and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion on this item? Then we have Mike Tarantino here with IDF.
Good evening, and Mike
Good
Tarantino. Thank you for having me, President CEO of IDF and a proud resident of District 1. So happy to be here with you tonight. The mayor asked me to come by to tell you a little bit, maybe to answer any questions that you might have about the restoration tax abatement, exactly what that is, and how it may benefit this particular project. First of all, it's available to all. It's a locally directed abatement, but it is managed by Louisiana Economic Development, the State Department of Economic Development. It's meant to help investors and those that are working on investing to rehabilitate or restore properties, to bring properties back into commerce, to help them with that investment, and to encourage folks to invest in bringing properties back and making them productive. These are business properties, to put them back into commerce. So what it provides is a up to 10-year abatement of ad valorem property taxes. It's not 10 years automatically, it's 5 years, and then you can apply for an extension of another 5 years. It's available in designated economic development districts, downtown development districts, historic districts, and opportunity zones. And so those have been designated around the city, and so properties that are located in those zones can apply for restoration tax abatement. So what happens is it basically freezes the property tax ad valorem value at that for the life of the abatement, right? So you're still getting the initial value through that whole process, but it's not revaluing it to the higher value until the abatement is done. Once the abatement is done, the property is revalued, and then 100%, and then that new tax rate kicks in. It just gives the investor an opportunity to recoup some of the cost and incent them to do that kind of improvement. So in this particular case, it's going to be a big incentive, and it's going to encourage the developer to come in and restore this property, offer their business, put it back into commerce.
Good. And we moved the line to be able to make that happen.
Yes.
So in the past, we moved the district line so that it could happen. And it's not quite the same program, but very close. It's the same as we did a pilot that you helped with to get Rouse's here. That we froze the taxes on the Kmart building that was empty, and that was doing nothing and producing nothing. And so we froze it, and they'll get 5 years and then renew in 5. But this is, it's proven. I mean, for us, it's a very good tool to get, new business here or get these buildings refurbished and get, something new happening. So
I want to commend the city on this part too. Typically, when we work with restoration tax abatement through the process, it's typically involving something called an economic development district, and that's something we typically do. In this case, it's using the historic district, and that is
we moved it.
Yeah, it's not something that you see a lot, but it's a really, really good way of layering these things together and leveraging other designations that you already have. So it's a very smart way of carving out that district so that investors can get and the city and their citizens can get the best bang for the buck.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
So Mike, just a brief comment. I think, when we look at communities that are growing around us, you always look at governments and agencies that invest in their communities. And in this particular case, this is just an investment by this government. We're looking at a $7.2 million investment, $1 billion. What it's going to cost the city in 10 years is $360,000. That's it. So we're investing in somebody to come and bring new addition to this building and reface this building at $7.2 million. Plus, I don't know, the payrolls, excuse me, the payroll's over $3 million as well. So it's good for everybody involved, and it's going to be an asset to the community moving forward. And I think, we need to be on board with these kind of projects and continue to support these kind of deals.
As a matter of fact, we'd like to be going forward. I've spoken with the mayor about the idea of this. There are many properties around the city that we would like to see occupied, that we want to see grow, we want to see investment put in. There's a way to look at doing some of these things in advance, to offer as an incentive for people to buy and realtors to, and developers to know ahead of time that, hey, if I come and I invest in the city of New Iberia and I invest in these particular properties, then I can get this. It's tremendous when you're crunching the numbers to figure out if you can make a small margin on making this happen. So I commend the city for that, using these abatements in a very creative way, and something that's really making good positive waves across the state. Yes,
And,
ma'am.
and it's
Sorry.
similar to what we've done on the parish level, the ITEP level, so we didn't have to create jobs. Instead, historic districts is just an investment in the structure, whereas on the other level, for businesses in ITEP, you create a certain amount of jobs, but it's basically the same thing, investing in businesses that want to locate in your community.
Many of these projects create direct permanent jobs for the business that's going to be located there, but we always want to count those indirect jobs, those construction jobs and other things that are going to also be useful in the project as well.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed.
So when we do these projects, in this particular case, this is like an apartment complex. It's in my district. So are the owners of this property required to keep the property for the same use? Like it's low-income housing. Are they required to continue this as low-income housing during the time of the amount of the abatement? Because what I'm just wondering is that could they come back and say, okay, these apartments now are not going to be low-income, and we're going to just rent them out to anybody and raise the rent? Do we have any requirements that say that they need to keep the property the same.
There's no requirement that I'm aware of that would happen. However, you can weigh in after that initial 5 years. Remember, it's a 10-year altogether, but after that first 5 years, they have to come back before you to apply for a renewal. You can take that particular piece up with them at that time and make your decision at that time too. But I'm not aware of any specific requirement like that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
There could be a requirement like that in their financing, though.
Okay, okay, good. It's just I'd hate to see, the residents actually
Right.
all of a sudden lose because, they got the opportunity to improve the property. Sometimes that happens where then they turn around, either they raise the rent and the people can't afford it, or they, start renting to people with higher salaries to make more money off of it.
Gentrified.
I was trying not to use that word,
Mini complex,
but it can
Anyway,
happen,
I know, I understand.
yeah.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone here from School Days Apartment or HRI Management?
No, they offered to come, and we knew Mike was coming, so I told the guy he didn't have to drive from New Orleans.
I have an unrelated question.
Oh, I'm sorry, well, next time I won't do that.
Trying to call the New Orleans location, because that's where they're based out of, to see what is the game plan if we have a mandatory evacuation? Like, what happens with their residents? I was talking to Mr. Prescott Marshall, and he's unaware.
Okay.
So you want to know
Okay, well.
what are we going to do as a city if they need help? And I cannot get an
see.
answer.
Well, that's not gonna fall on us, but, I can give you his contact information. Maybe I got a number you don't have.
Maybe so. Yeah,
Okay.
I just did a Google search and
All right,
went with
cool.
that number.
Text me tomorrow, I'll get it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, and, I might have another one. It'll be a pilot. I'm talking to somebody who, is looking at something that it would be a great fit. So as usual, just like on some of the other things we're working on, as soon as I get a little more information, I'll be calling you.
This is a great partnership, and I'm
It
really
is.
happy with the direction the city's going. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right, if there's no other further discussion, I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 4B.
Resolution 22-24, rejecting bids for sewer system improvements, Basin D, LCDBG, fiscal year 2021.
Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, I think a second by Councilman Marlon Lewis this time. Is there any discussion on this item? Questions or discussion?
Okay, so
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is the item that we were talking about, we're going to go back and rebid.
We certainly are. We got $1 million. The bids came in at a little over 1.3. We needed to reject the bid and rebid it. We are rebidding and committed to this project. I'm gonna put that to rest right away. So, it will come out. We have, after we take our action tonight, then they will post for the job again. That's a 45-day window that you post for contractors by law, and then we'll take bids again. So it's not something we're gonna lay back on. We're going to change the project scope enough to where we feel it'll land in the money so that we can get this project going.
Okay, so our budgeted amount was a little over 850,000. There's a significant, gap between what they bid and what we put in the budget. Do we know if there's a reason? Is it supply chain? Is it, scope? I mean, do we understand what
Our
why
engineer's
we
here.
think that the,
Vince is here, who runs our department. We can call Vince up, but he should be able to answer that, and,
because I mean,
yeah, I understand.
even if we rebid, if they still come in over $1 million, then,
We'll just have to decide what we do. But
Right.
if you remember, and I'm not gonna jinx it, but we're 3 for 3
okay,
on-
don't say that.
on rejecting bids and getting them back in the money because our professionals do a good job of changing the scope and giving us some choices.
I mean, this is a significant, difference in price, so I just want to understand, why do we think that they bid so high?
It was part of COVID and the cost of goods going up, I'm pretty sure, in the supply chain, right? So we only had 2 contractors that bid, 8 contractors had picked up packages to bid. So by doing this, we hope to generate some more interest. We want to make some calls to those other contractors and say, hey, we really need you to sharpen your pencil on this one. We do have a little more money than that in this project budgeted. We have $1 million. We have 200,000 of SRF money, which we leveraged to get the LCDBG $800,000.
Okay.
That was our match.
The construction part, engineer's estimate was $850,000, which was basically equal in the LCDBG
Okay.
funding part, right? So we had more than that to do the project, but the construction now is 1.3 million. So we still have to pay the engineering and the project management and inspection of all that. So hopefully, we'll see what happens, knock on wood, the sooner we can do this, the better, because prices, from what we understand,
Right,
is
they're going up.
going up, not down, right? So this is the first step in that process. We're not going to waste any time putting it out for rebid. We have to modify the plans according to state bid law substantially to be able to rebid it.
That's the other way we're hoping to get it in the money, because you can't just rebid the same project.
Okay,
Right. So it's some value
so
engineering.
the scope
things
could change.
Yes.
that-
it has to.
Somewhat, it will, somewhat,
Okay.
yeah. But the principal part of the project will not.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
For clarification purposes, this is a smaller sewer project, not the bigger one that we were talking about
We,
for,
we are still working on funding for the bigger one.
Right.
We go back to the state in probably June, we're thinking, and we will reapply for the bigger project. But this
Okay.
is the one that we already had funding, and, but we're not giving up on the other one either.
I just want to clarify for the
Yes, ma'am.
public
I
that that's
understand.
what this is. It's not the one that we're waiting on the
You
other.
have a lot of sewer projects in your district,
Yes,
so that's
and,
a good thing to do.
I do want to thank our wastewater department. I mean, your people really are there whenever I have to call. I call them a lot, but they're there and they do a good job and I do appreciate it.
I'll pass
I
it
know
on to
my,
them. Thank
my
you.
emails may not come off that way sometimes. I'm sorry. But
That's
we
okay.
do appreciate you guys.
They do a good job.
They do.
With what we have to work with. They
That's
really
right.
do. I'm proud of them as well.
And we know we have issues. We have an old system, and we're working on it. I mean, we're committed to do everything we can. And like I said, we're working hard, and I can tell you that man is really working hard. And our engineering team, I mean, we're back meeting with the state, finding out what we need to do, doing a lot of things in prep work to apply for that money again. So behind the scenes, a lot is going on because we know this is, a major issue. We are even looking at other opportunities or ways to fund some of this if we have to in another direction. But let's hope we don't.
So
Thank you.
Chances are, we're looking pretty good for that next round of funding.
Yeah,
Just
we do.
Gut feeling.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
good. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank y'all. Any other questions or comments? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machine so we can start this show again. Thank you very much. All right, Madam Clerk, 4C.
Resolution 22-25, declaring that redistricting of the city council districts must commence to adjust the district populations to be within a 10% deviation of the ideal population size.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis and seconded by Councilman Dustin Swear. Any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Do we have anyone here tonight to discuss?
No, this is what Mr. Cedric Floyd came last time, and
Correct.
then he basically said, we're going to put this resolution on your next meeting. So this is just to do the formality and get this passed to kind of start the show. Yes, you still have the
Being
floor.
that, I'm looking at District 6, of course, my district, so
Yeah.
I'm looking at District 6 is at 4.73%. It's within that 10%, so based on this, based on his numbers, it looks like District 6 is not going to move much, or
Well, it's
Is
a
that gonna
chain
be-
effect. So we're going to do this publicly. We're going to put out a public notice. We're going to come to a meeting, not on the night of a council meeting, okay? Because we're going to need the night.
Yeah.
We're going to set a meeting up at 5:30. We're going to get over here. We're going to put on the big screen, and it's going to be fun. And we're going to go a district at a time, and that is going to move. And you remember our consultant's promise. I will not quit till you have a unanimous vote, and I will move the least amount. But there's going to be a domino effect. Don't ever forget that. So when you steal from each district to move it, it's going to be a chain effect that every district is going to change. So
Right.
I don't think you can say, my district is good because you could hit from both sides. So everybody will have some changes. But that's why, Ricky won't have any changes. And I won't either. But that's why I feel that we'll do it publicly. I think that everybody will have input equally, and we'll just sit here. It's fun to watch government at work. Well, they're going to watch us work because it's going to get interesting, I'm sure. But every district will change. So,
sounds good, thank you.
okay. Anybody else?
I did have a question.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I know at our last meeting, we did talk about dates, possible dates. Anything along that? Have you worked out anything
We
yet?
are working on that. We were trying to do early April. We were thinking like the first week of April or something like that. We are working on that. We're not there yet, but he said that he would like to start, so you know me, I'm impatient. I'm like, okay, let's roll. I don't think he thought we were gonna start that early, but I would like to because it's gonna be an interesting process, and I don't know how long it's gonna take. I mean, we might have to have a few meetings, but I just wanna get it going. I think it's, you know, a good thing to start on. So right now, we're kinda looking at early April. I'll keep y'all posted as soon as Mrs. Cedric, you know, gets back with us and we come up with a date.
Could we try for a Monday, if possible?
For a Monday? Okay. I mean, you know, it's fine with me.
My work schedule is pretty booked, that's why I'm asking.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay, thank you.
Because I really need all of y'all here. It's going to be something that
Yeah.
it is, you know, to make a group decision is how we're going to make the best decision, as usual. Cool. Anything else? Then I ask you to please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, 4D.
Resolution 22-26, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Allen for the professional services on the Pepperplex renovations project.
So move.
Whoa.
Second.
Man, boy, this is, a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, and I think a second was, who was the second? You were? I don't know who was
It
first.
was like, whatever.
Yeah, who was first? Which one of y'all?
It was me.
Okay, great. Well, then,
Of course.
Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter, and y'all both jumped the gun. Do we have any discussion on this item?
Do we have pictures?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
We just hired them to get going, so, we will though.
Gotcha.
Is this?
Yes.
This
Wait.
fee's a flat,
Okay, yes, ma'am.
oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were looking at me, that's why.
I was.
Okay. It says it's a flat fee, do we know what the percentage is of the project?
5, yeah. Yeah, they actually have reduced their fee, and remember, that's one of the reasons I use them, because on the state fee curve with the things that go to facility planning and everything they get with the state, and actually remember, the state upped what I was paying them, but on the private projects or the things that are kind of more in-house and everything, we really have gotten, so that's a very good rate. But that's our rate, and I'm excited to get started.
Okay, and so he's gonna design everything?
The engineer will do some. Chandler will probably have a few things to do because there's some drainage and there is a slab out there for the new concession stand. But yeah, and we kind of have begun a basic layout. In other words, for me to be able to come up with a dollar amount, to know that we needed 3 million, we have already kind of worked on some things so that I could do some budgets to know how the EDD funds would come in, how I could afford to do it, and then to set a budget and know how much to bond. So we already have begun to work on it, and we've gotten input from all of the users out there when we had the initial meetings to say, would you like us to take over? If you don't want me to take over, I'll have to, you know, see you later, but, you know, we would like to because it's not getting where it should be, and everybody agreed, but that was an opportunity to get a lot of feedback too. So for this phase of it, I think we're really doing the minimum that has to be done to put us into a competitive mode. So, you know, we're turfing the fields. Now, we can only afford to turf the infields. We're lighting another big ball field. We're taking advantage of some poles that are there and lighting another soccer field. We're doing some paving, but maybe not a lot of paving, because the feedback I got, at first I was paving everything. The feedback I got was, you know, make a better ball field and we'll park on limestone. So we have some money in for paving, and we might actually make that an alternate, just in case we don't want to spend the money on that. We'd repair the batting cages. We build a new concession stand with an outside seating area. We gonna take an existing building, I think we budgeted about $100,000, but we're gonna either fix an existing building or pop up something to make an office, because our new director's gonna need an office and need to be out there. That's their job. Some drainage work. We need a sign, okay? We don't have a sign of the road. We need a sign. The other thing we need is some signage in the park. So, you know, the first phase, be it that every project's complicated, it was pretty easy because you could just go look at what was the minimum that was needed to host an overflow tournament, to make improvements so that our little league will, you know, build itself back up. It was kind of easy for phase one, you know, and we have a $3 million budget, and it's going to take every bit of it.
So does that include the road? Are we gonna put in another road to get them out of there?
No, that would be later, because you're gonna probably spend, it's far. In other words, to come out the back way and go to the light, that would be future. Now, in conjunction with that, we are talking to a family about some possible annexation that would get back to that light as well. We have some options, but that's a little down the road.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Just a comment. I think I think you put a great game plan together and been talking with the mayor and looking, I think, from the budget standpoint, what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it is really exciting for moving this community forward. But just a comment to Paul and David, on this item, you guys do great work for this community, and everything you do is first class, but this project is gonna touch more lives than any project y'all have done, I assure you. And I'm excited about what we're gonna do to make it for the kids, and I just think that we all need to bring our A game to this one, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We see what every other community's doing with them. We just gotta duplicate that and make it happen, and then we all hit the ground running, and I think you guys bring the A game, and we're gonna be very successful. I'm sure, no doubt.
Any other comments? Then I'm excited to get this started. I ask you to please vote your machines. And schedule-wise, just to give you, we kind of already talked about that. The advertisement is out for a director. I'm receiving a couple of applications already. We will let that process go for a few weeks. We will get David and Paul back with a sketch that we can pop up there soon. And then probably, if I do 2 more weeks of applications and then have an interview process of a week, I am hoping to bring someone in probably the middle of March to, as a person for you to ratify, if I have enough applications and it looks good. And then that person would probably come on, I don't know, not far after that. We can't start any construction until July. So we can plan it, we can have it ready. I would like the director to be in place by, I don't know, sometime in April, maybe by the latest. I want them on board prior so that they're involved with, they'll know where every water line is, they'll know where every, all the parts and pieces. They'd be involved from the beginning, and then they would come on and help supervise the construction, start writing policies, same thing, same way we built the police. We brought a few of the key members, the chief, the assistant chief, a major, and the secretary on early, and then that gave them 6 months to get everything. We wrote the whole police policy manual, kind of really set the tone for how it was going to come. So I want that person to be here, like I said, if it's April or May, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, so that they have that 4 or 5 months to really flesh out everything. We're going to have decisions like, do we cut the grass ourselves and hire someone, or do we sub it out? Do we sub out, which I hope we do we sub out the concession stand and really get some good food, like other communities do, where people want to come eat there, and then just get a little takeout the deal? Do we, we'll just have a lot of things along the way to decide. So the earlier that we get a director in place to help us with that, the better this, Ricky's not wrong that when it takes off, it needs to take off. We know that we're playing catch-up. Pepperplex board and everybody involved were years ahead of Broussard and Youngsville. They passed us up, okay? But this is our chance to catch up. And I'm not done with this, and I don't think y'all are either. After we get going, I don't want to catch up. I want to pass them up. But you got to walk before you can run. So to get somebody on early and put this in place where we can get going and show the community that this is really happening, number one. Number two, it has to start off being the quality that the best it can be for our money to attract those kids back that have left, or to make sure that we don't lose any more. So that's why, that's going to be important to but that's a schedule. So that's kind of how it's going to unfold over the rest of this year. So thank y'all.
And hopefully the new director will be able to kind of help some of the other parks kind of get little small programs started so that we can have other kids participate.
I'm going to make that person concentrate at first on the Pepperplex, okay? But it is my hope that we will have time. New energy is new energy. So anytime that we get a person who's done those kind of things, has a background in sports, that will be good. So anytime that person comes in, if you read the qualification, it's kind of a broad what we would need, but I'm sure that person will be able to help, and the parks are always ready to work with whoever. I mean, Heather and her staff does a good job, so I think it will be fun, and I think it will add some new energy. And there's going to be, we got to get going first. I didn't say immediately, but there will be a little bit of money that we are going to be able to use from this EDD in our parks. And remember, we said we would pick those projects. So I will come and say, hey, we got $50,000 that we, let's do something in the parks. So that person, because it's coming from their budget, that person would, I think, you're right, would be involved, partnering with the parks to go do something neat, in some other park.
Right, even help train some soccer coaches or,
I'm game. I mean, I think it's endless. We could talk all night about, but one step at a time. But it's gonna. I'm excited about it because it does open up a whole lot of possibilities. Thank y'all. All right, where was I? Let's see. 4E.
Resolution 22-27, accepting change order number 4 for the re-roofing of 911 facility and Slyman Theater project and
Wait a minute.
authorizing.
Do we vote?
Excuse me, Madam Clerk. Did we vote?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
I thought we did. Okay.
Did we vote?
Yes, we voted.
Okay, well, you're having discussions.
I just popped that in after. We voted. Thank you. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's it.
Don't hurt the check. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I read it.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion by
Second.
Councilman Swear and a second by, who was the second? I'm sorry. Oh, Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter. Thank you. Do we have any discussion on this item?
nice to have a decrease.
Right, that's what I was,
Yes.
when,
Paul's up here. We kind of can talk about the project a little bit. Paul, what you got?
Sure. BR Construction was a contractor on the project, and probably one of the major scopes of the project was the roof system, because it was quite obsolete. So we made a decision to select some panels that we thought were complementary to the area, historically looking. And we had the opportunity to deal with the issues of continuous roof leaks. If you had gone into the building before we touched it, you'd really know what was going on. A lot of the interior of the building, as soon as 911 moved out, they must have taken the roof with them. Because it,
Yeah. That's what it looked
so
like.
anyway, the goal was on the exterior was to kind of create a low-maintenance roof system, and we did that, and try to use as many components as possible. Those arch-shaped louvers, we kept in place and refurbished them. That was good, because it could have been expensive, and that's an important part of the structure of the building, historically looking, so we wanted to keep that in place. So the contractor, we think, did a really good job. Y'all have a roof warranty on the product, so you're in good shape in that regard. So while we were there, some interior renovation work occurred to expand out kind of a central workspace, and then the chief's office is adjacent to that, along with the secretary. They're in the basement. Right now, it's kind of cramped quarters. The lighting is terrible, and so this gives them a little bit more professional appearance. We utilized a lot of the existing building systems that were there, as far as the interior glass and glazing systems. We upgraded the lighting system. And painted the walls. It tremendously changed the interior look of the building. And moving forward, whatever that interior large space is used for, I think it's going to be really a nice marketing tool for the city. We have a nice big conference room. I think Freddie said he's working on the idea of trying to get a table built.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of nice spaces available for meetings associated with the city and potentially any other interested group that wants to get with the city to do that. And so the project was approved by the state fire marshal for the work that was done. And we think the contractor did a great job. We had a punch list. All the punch list items have been completed. We know we have a 45-day lien period, and then we'll ask for lien-free certificates, and the final payments will be made. So it went quite well. Any questions?
Questions, comments?
Quick, Paul,
Yes, sir.
when Freddie brought me to tour the building, I saw that they had a technical nightmare in one of the rooms.
In the IT room?
Yeah, have we touched that, or is that
Well,
still?
No, it's been a lot of that nightmare has been voodooed away.
That is now our IT department. Basically, they had a room on the 4th floor. Jane is getting an assistant. That's going to be her assistant's office. So our IT department not only help clean it up, they'll be utilizing that room that they'll be based out of. So, but it got cleaned up. It was kind of a mess, but now it's a good, valuable part of our little complex.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting when you see the amount of cables they had in the building.
Yeah, there was a room that we actually were thinking about taking away, which was a shower space. And in discussions with the chief, we made a decision to reroute a corridor around it because, these these people who are in an emergency situation have to be at that facility 24/7. You just never know. So now they have accommodations to shower, to refresh themselves. And so we actually kept that in place. And it was a savings, a cost savings. You have a $10,000 return on the project because we decided at this time to work with the existing air conditioning system. We cleaned it, we changed the diffusers, but we felt like the system in place now was sufficient to handle the needs moving forward.
And that $10,000 will be utilized. We need to replace the sign on the front. It still will be the Cliff Oak building, but it says it's 911. Some of that money will go to replace the sign because now it is the NIPD administration headquarters on one side and then the city training center on the other. So that credit will help to go towards that. Just to tell you, the police and put up $70,000 of their CARES Act money, and the fire department chipped in 20 because they'll use that big room as well. So that's where the change order was paid for to do these interior renovations, and we got a very good price out of the contractor. In addition to that, we had a couple of allowances that then I removed them from the bid and went shopping. And so our 15 chairs that go for the conference area in the big room came in. The 40 stacking chairs we're waiting for, the tables are coming in, and I gotta find a lectern and a conference table for that smaller conference area. But it's gonna get utilized. I think our press conferences will happen there. Anytime we have training for every department, they'll book it through my office. My office will handle it like they handle the other rentals. And so different entities inside our city, all the various departments will be able to utilize that space for training. To police as an outreach, we're kind of thinking we'll do things like coffee with a cop there. The fire department and I are thinking of something we can do there as well that reaches out to the community. So I think you're going to find, in our complex, this hub, this complex should be the center of our community. And instead of doing things that, and I'm not being ugly, other people host things and that's nice, but it really becomes about their business. This should be about the city. We're talking about sometimes that we might host meetings, as we've been talking about with some of you, with neighborhood associations. In other words, if I can put a meeting together with various members of the police department or myself, and we invite them, we'll come to our complex, come to our meeting center. I think it's a good place to put city government where it belongs in the community. The other thing we're doing, I don't even think I told you all about this one. I went to Federal Surplus and we bought an 8-burner stove. Okay, right now 75 police officers sleep in this building, in this room, in the city courtroom, and all over that building when we have a hurricane. They stay sometimes 3 and 4 days. They're cooking off of my camp burner and a little flat top and another little burner that I had that was a little events grill. So they've been feeding 75 people off of these 2 janky things that come from my house, okay? Well, 3 years in, we're wearing them out. So we ended up at Federal Surplus with a little CARES Act money that the PD had left. We bought a commercial 8-burner stove and a commercial refrigerator. We're partnering, we think, with the school board to get a few things. And so that whole back deck is going to end up being an outdoor kitchen that, which will be neat if we ever want to use it for something with that building. We're not getting in the restaurant business, but it will be a way to feed my officers and to, keep, because like I said, people in this building stay. The entire police department is on active duty and has to stay, so it's going to give us a good way, So I just kind of want to let you know the money's being well spent, and we're utilizing a building that was going to go to waste. I thought about renting it at one time, but this is so much more of a community use and a better use of the space. So.
Some point you do a ribbon cutting, I'm sure.
Yeah, I guess we should. We can do that. Okay, that's fine.
Capacity of the conference center,
Probably about 250
250?
with chairs. A little more when you stand. Yeah. Yeah, a little more when you
Full
stand.
sprinkler system,
Sorry?
full sprinkler system, right?
Presently not.
No, Ricky,
No, it's not.
our marshal, we didn't have to.
But we
I
don't.
thought we wouldn't.
No, we didn't have to.
We're okay.
Well, we're trying to
below
spring.
300.
No, we don't have to. We good. We good.
But we had talked about it, I know.
I know. No, not that one. We good.
I didn't know what the capacity was.
No, we good. So it's a good space. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
When are we gonna get a tour of it?
Well, it's
Since
kinda-
you gave them Mayor Pro Tem one.
Well, that was way back.
That was before we started. I was kind of waiting to get all the tables. Actually, I thought of that, but I said, well, let me get all the tables and chairs and kind of get it set up. But yeah, we can go anytime you want. They gave me a key, So anytime you want. Anybody else?
I was
Thank-
going to ask the same thing.
Yes, sir. Okay, good. That's good. And I want y'all to see it because I want us all to make it part of our community. Cool. Well, thank y'all very much. I'm going to ask for that. So if there's nothing else, please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, for F.
Resolution 22-28, accepting a certificate of substantial completion for the re-roofing of 911 facility and Slyman Theater project and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and a second by Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there any discussion on this item?
We just finished talking about it, right?
Yes, we did. We really, and you know, the one thing we did, we left the Slyman off, because in all of that, we also got a roof on part of the Slyman, which is really good. Great. Well, if there's no discussion, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, 5A.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2021-2022-05, amending the budget to reflect changes in grant funding in various projects for the city of New Iberia and to set for public hearing on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Any discussion on this item? No? Hearing and seeing none then, I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 6A.
Project Spotlight for Bayou Teche Museum Phase 2, Doc Voorhees Wing and George Rodriguez Park, the Visitors Pavilion, and New Iberia Trailhead Canoe and Kayak Dock.
All right, that falls on me. We said that we would begin to update projects, and as you see through them tonight, we're using the screen more, we're putting pictures up. I'm trying to get our consultants to come more and kind of tell us what's going on, because we have so many projects coming, it's gonna get kind of crazy, in a good way. You have some pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Our first project is the Bayou Teche Museum Phase 2. Should be complete, we're thinking, early April, end of May. And that project is coming along well. As you can see, we have some, and you're gonna see those little kind of the first slide that you had up. We're also using those on Facebook and really trying to show the community what's going on more than we ever have. So, between Jane and Hillary, they put those together. Those will be shared, and we ask you to share them and get them out there. Just so, and we're going to do that on these projects. We're going to do that on the ARPA project. Basically, every project that has, has any worth, we're going to try to, not the little bitty ones, but we're going to try to do that just to show the community where their tax dollars are going and what we as a team are doing. The next phase of Bayou Teche Museum is Phase 3. It's pending. We have capital outlay money. We're waiting on facility planning and control. We hope that the construction would start middle of this year to the fall, we're kind of thinking. I'm hoping. So if it begins in late 2020, I hope not 2023, I know it's about a 6 to 8 month project. So that will finish the shell that's there now, that will add the bathrooms, that will do, a lot for the project to finish it. It is our last phase. This has been through 3 phases. A lot of people spent a lot of time to get this money. The state gave us over $3 million, but it was broke out over 3 years. The other phase also did George Rodriguez Park, which will be finished in this phase. All they have left there is pouring the concrete, a little bit of lighting upgrade in one area. Really not that much at all, but that project will be finished for the park. Now, the park is now a city park. That doesn't mean we finished spending money on it. We do have a little money coming. We're not sure how much. It was kind of tied up in a gift that George Rodriguez's wife gave, but we don't know how much the park's getting yet. But that money, the park does have a few things more that it needs. It needs some benches. It needs a little more landscaping. There are a few more things to make it a park. But it is now in our park system, so in November's budget, I am hoping I get something, but in November's budget, whatever we don't get out of that money, then I'll be coming to you like I normally do with all the rest of the parks. But, so it's basically done, one more phase of the museum, and it'll be done. Our next project is our Visitors Pavilion, which is looking to be finished at the end of this month. We have a walkthrough and a punch list schedule that's going to happen this week. So that project is really moving along. What we have left on it are the kiosks. So we basically took a bathroom that gave us trouble and that was really not in good shape and have turned it into something that's really going to be neat. That plays in partnership with the plans we have for the Steamboat Pavilion and the new bathroom and the stage. That'll happen later in the year. It came at a great time, right on the heels of our Veterans Memorial, and the Liberty Bell, which is all in that same complex. We use money from this project to upgrade the plaza area because, as the veterans had pointed out, I mean, so many things happened there for our veterans. There were no rails on the stairs. We had broken bricks. We had trip hazards. So this project, we squeezed a little money out of it to actually fix those problems. But you're going to see over the next few years, Bowling Plaza, it has acted as our town square for a very long time. We have the most historic parking lot in the world because they tore down a lot of historic buildings to make it. But it has never failed to quit being the center of our town. They tore the courthouse down. They tore the old, we tore a lot of things down, but it has always functioned. So now, for the whole town, now we're trying to give it some love and kind of bring it to that level. We think this visitor center is going to be really good for our tourism. The next thing, we have them designed. We're beginning to think about content. We have a grant of about $15,000, and we have another 10. Although I got to make sure we didn't double dip on something, but I think we have another 10. That credit we just took, I might have to use some of that. But we are working on the kiosk now, and what we want to do is highlight our local businesses. We want to tell you where to go eat. We want to tell you to go to Conrico in the Shadows, and Cane River is going to have a pecan museum. Bayou Teche Museum, the Shadows. We have a new agricultural museum coming. Those are all things that we want to do. I know the Veterans Memorial is right behind it, so we'll just have a little sign that says, look over there. But anything we can promote that brings people here and keeps them in town longer, we'll send them out to Avery Island because we want you to come back to New Iberia and spend the night. So anything we can do as this little open-air visitor center. The other thing it's going to function at, put some barricades on each side. Now we can take, especially once we have the bathroom and the stage, now we can do some ticketed events at the Steamboat Pavilion, which would raise money. Don't want to make a profit, but I want to take that money to fund other free events. But I think that this will give us the ability to do that. So the visitor center is going to open up a lot of possibilities. The kiosks, we're thinking, are another 2 or 3 months. We are a little concerned about aluminum delivery and those kind of things. Local fabricator has bid on it, and he thinks the supply chain for what we're using, we'll be able to get it. The kayak dock. If you pass today, they were pouring concrete. Kayak dock should be complete around mid-March, the beginning of April. The kayak dock had been held up, but it's on the way, which is really good. It's all built out of aluminum, so they had some material shortages. But it's coming, and I think the kayak dock is going to be well used. We have a lot of excitement about that. Our first marina is basically finished. All we have left is the lighting that you approved at the last meeting. Once that lighting's done, then we have that first marina. We have the kayak dock. The next marina is behind City Hall. That's coming. I'll highlight that at another time, at another meeting. And then we have Felicity's Landing that it just went to the Corps. But that will be coming. So, like I said, every couple of weeks, let's say once a month for sure, maybe once every 2 months. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try to highlight new projects and just kind of put these pictures up and let you, as well as the community, kind of see our progress. Any questions?
So
Hang on, one at a time. Yes, sir.
the kayak dock, that goes into the park system as well, like George Rodriguez Park system?
Yes, that will be a park project. It will. It'll be another little park. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Are we gonna name it the kayak dock?
I guess we could. I never really thought of that yet. That's an opportunity.
Dee Dee Johnson Reed Park? No, I'm joking.
No. That's funny. But we probably should. It should have a name. It really should. There's going to be a kiosk there, too, that is part of the Bayou Teche project that spans all the parishes. We already have it, actually. So I think I did a sample of it here early on. They poured the foundation. Some people thought that was a road. It is a sidewalk that goes to the Superior Street. And in the middle of it, when they saw the light pole and where the kiosk is going to go, they were like, oh, they put that pole in the wrong place. It's in the road. That's not a road. It's a sidewalk.
Okay.
We would kill people coming off the bridge. But anyway, so I have to think about a name.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. So when you're coming towards the Bayou Test from the Superior, and you extend and you go down and not take the bridge, is that gonna be the access way to get to there to park?
Yes. In other words, from
Is
the,
it- What kind of parking is it gonna be? Is it
It's just,
asphalt, limestone? concrete?
limestone.
Limestone?
What's that? That's what I thought, limestone.
That's why I'm asking, because I don't see any,
Yeah.
I'm seeing how it's cut off right there, and that's.
Right, it'll
so-
be limestone parking.
Limestone
And I mean,
parking.
we're not expecting a huge crowd at once, okay? We think a few people at a time. So I think it's like 4 parking spaces, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have the sidewalk and the entry. My ace in the hole, because look, if something does succeed, you have to plan for success. So if it does succeed, remember, we own that property where the little Timeless Treasures was, the gas station that was torn down, and it's just fenced off, and we need to do something with it anyway. I have always called that Kayak Park. I guess I need to think of a better name. But if we take off and it is successful, we could put a few parking spaces there. We could put a little kind of, spot to do a little more there. So that's kind of my overflow if I need it. But it'll have 4 parking spaces. It'll be open all the time because people could be coming and going at, different hours.
Is there enough room, reason why I'm asking, so
Sure.
when you go down, is there enough room to where a vehicle can actually turn around? Almost like a situation where,
Yes.
Is-
Not saying you don't have to back out, but yeah, you can, you'll be able to turn around and get
That
out.
was one question that was asked from me by someone that lived in
Okay.
the area on that street, so.
Okay. Our 2 architects in the back, there's enough room to turn around.
Is there enough
Yeah.
room to turn around?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
There is. And we have had a lot of look, anytime you do something, I love my town, I love my community, but
questions.
anytime you do something, and especially that was such a tight little area with a house with just a few, a street with just a few houses. I mean, the city's owned that property for quite a long time. We're just getting more and more creative with our assets and just looking at any opportunity we can to make this place pop.
I'm just glad it's cleaned up. I mean,
Yeah.
it was been an eyesore for so many years.
It
People
has.
complained about it being an eyesore.
Yep.
Now we got them.
Yeah, it's a really good use of it, and we actually aren't finished cleaning up. We have some ideas to kind of clean under the bridge and do a few more things to kind of finish that area off and it'll be lighted now. So I mean, it's really gonna upgrade an area that was just doing nothing.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Freddie, I'm loving what we're doing. I'm so proud to be a part of this council that has done so much renovating on Main Street and along the bayou and stuff like that. And, I tell the people I represent and everybody I run across, we have a lot of people, successful people that have left New Iberia, African-American people to be, frank, and they want to come back home and they want to come back and celebrate and be celebrated. And I just want to make sure that the city does not forget that we celebrate our culture in this area. Because we definitely, I know, without a shadow of doubt, we laid some bricks there, we did some painting there, we did a lot, Felicity healed the town, and we had so many things that happened that are forgotten. And I believe that if we promote some of the African-American culture more in this area, we can diversify our town, we can grow our town, we can get more tax dollars in and all of those things. Because let me tell you, remind you, integration wasn't because they wanted us so bad, they wanted our money. It was simple as that. So today we need to make sure that we invite everyone and make it invite. This is beautiful. This is beautiful, but we need to continue to thrive and strive to make this town diverse. Because when you look on the map, Louisiana itself has 33% African American, one of the largest populations in the country. And we need to just continually be thinking about making our town look more like that. And I think we're doing a good job. As I said in the beginning, I'm proud to be a part of this council, and we're doing a lot. So with your creative mind and the people that we have around us, we have to promote this to the rest of the community. Because anybody tell you, it's no secret, it's been a long time coming where black people say, I ain't going on Main Street over there. They ain't got nothing up there for me. And today we need to try to change that so that we can continue to grow this community. We have a lot going on. We have a lot of hidden treasures. We need to continue to search that. I believe it's our job as leaders in the African-American community to search that out, and it's this council's to implement it in the community. You know, because we have a great place to live, man. I love it. I wouldn't be here. I'm smart. I can be in Houston, Atlanta, San Francisco, making big moves, but I love this town. I want to keep my talent here. So,
Appreciate it. And you know that you and I have these conversations all the time, because we really do. And it's why it's Felicity's Landing. It's why I keep telling you stories of Charleston and Savannah, that everyone benefits from the same history that we have. It's why the Agriculture Museum is going to have an African-American piece. And I was fortunate enough to do the architecture on the African-American Museum in St. Martinville. Really wanted to get that here, and it didn't happen. But through the Agriculture Museum that's coming, I really think that's our opportunity. And you and I talk all the time. You go to other places, and I see people in Charleston from every part of town. Where are they? Where the tourist areas are? What are they doing? Making money.
Yep.
I constantly say I'm the mayor for the whole town. This council, my last council was the same way, but this council, we work very well together. You look at all of our neighborhood projects coming, you look at the master study, at the money we're spending in the whole community. That's what it's about. It's about keeping us all, as a partnership. It's the way this council works, keeping us all together and moving ahead so we all can succeed. And I think we are doing that. But it's good to have this conversation. We all have these conversations behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I have no problem having these conversations at every meeting, because that's what it's about. It's about bringing us together. It's about everybody profiting. And nobody has the history we have. South Louisiana, we got more history. You look at here in our city, we go back to 1779. You look at all that history. That's just like all this money spent in Bayou Teche. We're linking up with the rest of Acadiana. It's all about partnerships. It's all about working together. But if South Louisiana could have the same attitude that we have on this council, and we're getting there, and we could all promote ourselves as one group and one region, we can compete with anybody. So I think we're showing that we can do that, and I appreciate that. It's a good conversation. Anybody else? No?
So,
Yes,
is
ma'am.
someone gonna open, this is just for the public, someone gonna open a kayak rental business? Because I own my own kayak, but I'd love to see some other people go out there and kayak with me.
I've had 2 people already approach me and kind of say they're interested. I think they want to see the finished product. I do think they want to see if a few people use it. So all of us that have kayaks will have to get out there and show them that it's something that, could be profitable. But I think that's going to happen. The visitor center, when Felicity's Landing hits, I've got someone who wants to do a dinner cruise every couple of months and see how that goes. I've talked to one person about a little small tour boat. It's not the greatest in the world, but I'd love to have it. It's wonderful. So those things, I think, once we build it, we are going to see the benefits of that. And I think Felicity's Landing is another one that's really important. But all of that kind of relates together with utilizing the assets we have. And I do think people are going to step up. I don't think we're spending this money in any kind of foolish way. These grants were available to every community. We just happen to be blessed that we had Bayou Teche running right through the middle of our town, and we were all smart enough to grab on it and say, okay, let's do it. But I think that it is going to open up business opportunity, and that's what you want. You want tax dollars in this town. You want people to have jobs. You want people to succeed. So I really think it's going to do that.
So opening, when we break ground or when we've done and we're ready to kind of let people use the dock, I think the council should be, the first group to get in the kayak and go down the bayou.
Hey, that might be fun. That might be fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Good.
Show 'em
Thank
how
y'all.
it's done.
That's it. All right. Madam Clerk, 6B.
From the Ordinance Committee, a draft of the Smoke-Free Air Act for council review and discussion.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
everybody received their draft. I did not, or any of the committee members received any notification about possible changes or anything else about it. Just want everybody to remember that the purpose for this is to keep people healthy. We're not trying to hinder anybody's rights, but everybody does have the right to be healthy. Your choices are yours, and your choices should not influence my health or be a detriment to me. And that's basically what this is about, putting this in place in all public spaces in New Iberia. So with that, anybody else have any comments?
Questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to let the public know that the reason this is even a thing that we're entertaining and trying to support is because it's for the better good of those that work in those environments. Those people need a voice sometimes. They're not willing to stand up to their employers and say, hey, this is unhealthy, because they need their job and they have no other option. So we're here to speak up for them. I've had a few people try to talk me out of supporting this. It's not happening. I'm a nurse. I work with respiratory distress patients. I cannot not support this. You can't compare it to a Dr. Pepper, because when you drink a Dr. Pepper, it does not harm your neighbor. Right. Dustin, I remember you said that. I know you're real nice. Mr. Landry, you're real nice, I know, but that's not the same thing. Smoking has a secondhand smoke that everyone else has to breathe around you. A Dr. Pepper goes into your body, and that's it. I'm done.
Thank you. I do like Dr. Pepper. Anyway, anybody else? Yes,
Don't
sir.
care for it. Root beer. Okay, so I do have a couple of questions. And I'm gonna say this publicly. I know for a fact smoking is bad for you. That's not what I'm here to argue at all. Like, smoking is bad. It is. It's bad for anybody who does it, bad for anybody who's around it. I get that. But a couple of questions that I have after reading through it, so 51% of the gross income or sales of the business, if it's due to tobacco products, so you said like cigar bars, those are going to be exempt from this, right? So in my defense, what is a bar or a lounge? If it's allowed by the private owner, what's the difference in those two? Because if they're allowing it, and the other person has the right to walk out if they want, and that's one of the arguments I have. Another one is you have a vehicle for hire. So what you're saying is, or what this is saying is, or the state law I guess we're going by, what if it's a truck driver who's driving a vehicle that is for hire, but he's the only one in the vehicle? Does that say that he can't light a cigarette in that vehicle, even though he's the only one in it? I mean, that was the first thing that came to mind when I saw it, vehicle for hire. I get you're talking about passenger vehicles, limousines, stuff like that. But when you also is that in that same group? That was one thing I had a question about. Because to me, if you're going to enforce that on that driver, or whoever who's solely in the vehicle, because it is a vehicle for hire, it's kind of infringing on their rights, in my opinion. So that's basically how I feel about it. It's not, not saying that smoking's bad. I do agree that it shouldn't be in restaurants and things like that. But also agree that to me, it's a private business owner's decision if they want, especially if they're in a building that they own or they operate, and it's just solely them. So so we say the PD is gonna enforce this. What if it's a complaint-driven? It's going to be mostly a complaint-driven deal, right?
Yes.
So is that going to go to Jimmy's department?
No, Jimmy's
No.
not the police.
Okay,
As
but
much as
that's why I asked, because
says,
a
I
lot
don't
of
have a ticket bug,
complaint-driven
Jimmy's not the police.
a lot of complaint-driven things go through compliance sometimes. So that's why I
They
asked that
call
question.
many complaint-driven things end up at my office.
Right.
They call
So-
my office probably more than any other department, and we just direct them where it belongs. But if I get a call about this, it goes to law enforcement. If Jimmy gets a call about it, Jimmy got enough on his plate, Jimmy,
Well, that's why I
it
asked
goes
the
to law
question. That's
enforcement.
why I asked the question, because Jimmy does have enough on his plate. The PD has a lot on their plate too.
They do.
So I'm not discrediting anything that Ms. Stansberry's pushing for, or you got. I'm not discrediting any of that. I actually brought these just to bring a little light to the whole, kind of break the ice.
Yep.
But that's those items right there in here. That's what my concerns are.
The thing about the 51%, that's like for a cigar bar or a place like Mr. Paul has that actually sells cigars and cigarettes and all, that's their business. And they're exempt from this particular ordinance. Now, the person in the truck for hire by themselves, I mean, that's on them to say if they want to smoke. We're talking about when somebody else is, like in the Lyft or Uber, and also if a child is involved in it, if they're a passenger in the car. There's no smoking if a child is a passenger in the car, regardless to if it's for hire or if it's your personal vehicle. And that's a state law.
So clearly, we're not trying to infringe on people's rights. We're really, worried about people's health, especially those of us who don't smoke. But I can tell you just from personal experiences, my brother was a long-distance truck driver, and he'd smoke in his vehicle, and he developed lung cancer, and he died in 4.5 months. So obviously, I do support this. I think that we're going to save lives with this ordinance. And I hope that, although I know that we're not trying to tell people necessarily what to do, but if you own your own building and you have employees, you are putting them at risk. It is unfair to put them at risk, and I hope that we can all get behind this because it is a health issue. It is not about infringing on people's rights. So, thank you guys.
Anybody else? I'll give you the floor again. Anybody else want to speak? And then I'll give you the floor after, that way we.
That's
go.
fine. It was just a
Thank you.
direct question to what you had asked, that's all right.
Okay. Who's next?
Who are
Yes.
gonna be the people that's gonna be affected financially in this move? I mean, cause, and the reason why I asked that, they don't smoke in Lafayette, right?
Right.
And people still leave here to go to party in Lafayette.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, I wonder if we be, thinking about that kind of stuff. I don't know, who's affected most by it, other than the people that's getting secondhand smoke. I mean, I like to know who's losing so much money or who's gonna lose so much money, from this, smoking ordinance. That would matter to me. Back in the day, they used to have the barber chairs with the ashtray on them. They don't have them no more.
Yep.
So,
You're still cutting hair.
yeah. I like the life-saving part. It kind of makes sense to me. You might say, you can't make people stop smoking, but if you limit people's opportunities to smoke, you might. It's just, that's where I'm at with it. I'm gonna stop right there.
Okay. Okay. Yes, sir.
So, and I'm having a little fun with Marlo on this, right, Marlo?
No, the fun has already been had.
I didn't put that. So me and Marlo was talking the other day, and I asked Marlo, I said I wanted to go visit with him in his barber shop, and he asked me if I could light a cigarette in his barber shop. He said, hell no. I said, why not? Because you look, he has a no smoking sign on his door. Ronald, right?
Right.
He's taking care of his business. He don't want no smokers in his barber shop. He's protecting community health. He's doing what's right for his business to entertain clients. So I took it on myself to go ride around town. And look, Renee has a great selling point, and I believe in the health. I believe in Brooks' deal, and it's all good. That's all facts. So I rode around town. How many businesses in your area allow smoking in their business currently, besides bars? Y'all can name any? Walmart? TJ Maxx? Rouse's? No. Because they're all business owners that took upon themselves that it's not healthy for their customers, and they said no smoking. So they address their business needs and their community's health. So I just think that, when government tries to outreach into businesses that are trying to support a community, we're reaching too far. Businesses are being forced. They just got almost forced, do we vaccinate? Vaccinate our employees or not? Do we wear masks? Now, can't smoke in businesses. Government is burdening businesses with things that they don't need to be worried about, that they know what's right for their customers. And I just think that it's just a far outreach. And in the resolution, I think it's good, Deidre, and everything else, but if this was to get supported by this council, I think you eliminate the 51% rule because it's either cut and dry, because we have no way of enforcing 51% of the sales of a business who sells tobacco products. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna pull sales tax records? How are we gonna determine that? Are we gonna go knock on Mr. Landry's door? Hey, how many cigarettes you sold, Mr. Landry? There's no way to redetermine that. So I think if that is to move forward, that needs to be taken out. So, and the other question I got is, Ms. Stansberry, what is the state law concerning smoking in the businesses?
So there is a state law, so whenever you talk about Walmart and the
Okay.
barbershops and those, they didn't voluntarily, there is a state law that passed back in 2007. And so it also, there was in 2006 laws of why you can't smoke on school campuses. There's a state law for colleges, universities, and junior colleges and those campuses. This is just closing the gap for those workers and saying all workers deserve the right to breathe clean air and have that clean air while they're at work. They shouldn't have to trade that paycheck for that, for their health. And that's what's happening in these establishments. So that's why we're asking the council. There's about 30 other municipalities that have done the same. The reason that 51%, Lafayette has the exact same thing, because this isn't something to hurt businesses. This is something to improve the health of communities. And whenever you're talking, you know, I heard about all the great places that you guys are creating kayak and walking paths. So you're doing the steps to create a healthier community for constituents. Why not the smoke-free? Because that is going to help create a healthier community, because those individuals won't be in there. Over the years working in this area, I met a woman who had to quit actually working at a bar because her cardiologist made her, because if she did, she wasn't going to continue. She loved that job, she loved the place, but she unfortunately had to leave because of the exposure to secondhand smoke. And that's all we're doing, is trying to protect all workers.
And I totally agree with your concept, and I think it does, but my question was, there is already a state law in the books. State laws supersede local laws in any laws that are passed. And am I correct with that, Jeff?
So not with this one, because back in 2017,
I'm
it
just
listed
asking.
preemption, sorry.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Well, but if a state law prohibits it and we have a tighter ordinance prohibiting it, then they both apply.
Okay. So, thank you, Ms.
And
Stanley.
I probably didn't point this out. What's in yellow is what we would be doing. What's in white is the state law. That's how we did it. So
That's right.
just to show you, you know, and I know only the council has this, but what we propose to do differently, what was generated at the ordinance committee is in yellow.
I'm good.
You got anything else?
I'm fine.
Okay. Is there any? Yes, sir.
The
Back to
question,
you.
the question I had, I was gonna ask, so what if this is a business that was solely one person in that office to himself?
Well, there's nobody to turn him in.
You say that.
Sorry.
You say that, cause it's like, it could happen, but that's what I also think about. Do we have an idea what penalties are gonna be?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the
they're
last
in there.
page.
Yeah, look at the
Yeah.
last,
I think it's the last page.
I remember seeing on the last
The
page.
last
Yeah.
page. The bad stuff happens at the last page
Yeah.
most of the time.
And another question, so when this happens, and there is an instance, who do we cite? The person smoking the cigarette or the owner of the building?
It would be the owner, because they would have to tell that person they would have to leave or go outside to smoke.
Okay.
Yeah, because one, if you look at the violations, one says any person, the other one says any employer.
Right.
Could be either one.
Either one, right? Okay.
Any other question?
No, I'm done, thank you.
Okay.
See, normally I think what would happen in that case is if I'm a bar owner, say, and I have the no smoking, no decal, and we've done this, and somebody smokes, and I said, well, no, you can't do that, you know, we're a no smoking environment, you have to go 20 feet outside, and they don't want to, then I call the police.
Yes, sir.
I got a comment.
Sure.
They laughed when you made that comment, but it was the truth though. Who's gonna turn them in? If you ever go to a nightclub, I bet you it's about 15% of the people in there smoking, and that's bringing all of the smoke in there. Everybody in there ain't smoking in the club.
Right.
True.
I bet you it's lower, 25% smoking in the club. So you're not stopping a whole lot of, people go to the clubs to buy alcohol. They don't go there to buy cigarettes and smoke. So And again, it don't take but 2 or 3 people in the crowd, a third, to make the room full with smoke. Okay. True.
We have any other items to discuss on this? And then our active business would be, it will come back, I'm sure, at some point, whenever it's requested, it'll come back. And then we'd go through the ordinance process, you know. We'd
In
have a public
March.
hearing.
In March.
Okay, we'd have a public hearing, and my big thing is to make sure our processes are followed. So we had a discussion item tonight, so everybody was on the same page. When we do our ordinance, remember, it takes 2 meetings, and there's a public hearing, and it's posted, and it's published, so people know what's coming. So if you have an opinion on this and you want to talk about it, we want to hear it. Come out and talk about it. But that's why anything that we do, and this for us is new and different, and that doesn't happen very often. I'm kind of celebrating that. It is not that often that this council was not unanimous on everything, okay? When we kind of started talking about this, we weren't. So we said, cool, that's not a problem, that's government at work. Let's make sure we take really an extra step, because a lot of times in the ordinance committee, we work on it, then it's emailed out, and then it's just brought to the meeting at some point. This was an extra step, because I knew we needed some discussion on this, and we will again. But that way it's out there, so I just want the public to know that they'll have an opportunity to come and comment on it, and we'll go from there. So I thank y'all, as always, for a good discussion. That's what makes us a good team. All right, Councilman's remarks. I'll start on Dustin's side tonight.
Yeah, I have one to make. We are gearing up. I know you hear me talk about it all the time. Festival of Live Oaks is starting to crank up. I don't believe Heather's here tonight. It's her birthday, I believe, today. So happy birthday to Heather. But I believe it is the 19th. If you want to get some more information, just call the park, get a packet, join in on the fun. It's actually a one-day event, so it's not a weekend-long, drag-out thing. So we just need all the support we can to support our parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to thank everyone who came out last Saturday for the Weatherization application grant day. The Downtown Neighborhood Association helped 60 people apply for the Weatherization grant, and we're hoping that most of them get approved. And then I guess in conjunction with what CLECO is going to do, we should be able to get a lot of people some improvements in their homes.
Definitely.
So just want to thank the Downtown Neighborhood Association and all the other volunteers and the people who came out. And then we had a tree giveaway, and so I'm really excited. We had a lot of people come out and get trees, and they were really nice trees. So thank everyone, and I hope you all got them planted, because this is Tree Planting Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
This is Black History Month, and at the end of this month, on February the 27th, Gardu Court number 129 Daughters will be having a Black History Tea, where we will be celebrating 3 individuals from our various areas. One of them will be the mayor of Jeanerette, Mayor Carol Bourgeois. He'll be one of our recipients.
He's in the house?
Yes, he is. And also, one of our organization members who's very involved in the community, Deborah Joseph. And also, Dee Dee Johnson-Reed will be receiving the award from the NAACP for her community involvement. And there will be a couple of other awards given away to Miss Eva Mae Lewis and Miss Peggy Hvac. So asking everybody who can make it to come on out. It's going to be held at Olive Branch Masonic Lodge on the corner of Ann and Arlene Street at 3:00 p.m. Admission is $5, and hope to see you all. And
what's the date again?
this 27th, February the 27th, the last Sunday in this month, 3:00 at the Masonic Temple on the corner of Ann and Arlene Street. Hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Thank you. Ricky?
Yeah, just a you know, when you sit up here and you have discussions with your fellow colleagues in the public, you wonder, you go around town and people saying, you know, they really pleased with the city's doing, how we moving the city forward. And you look back at the agenda and look at some of the things we discussed tonight, you know, we addressed our kids in our community. We addressed our police department. We addressed investment in a historic district, invest in our community. We talked about the sewer system to people having problems. Talked about saving people money on power and even health, the health of people's issues. So this council's engaged in everything that a growing communities needs to be engaged in. And I'm excited to be a part of it and just look forward to the future of this community.
Thank you.
Yeah, Freddie, you know, as always, man, especially during Black History Month, you know, we only got a month, but we'll settle. You know, every day is a history-making moment. Every day is a history-making moment, and this is the last time that I personally get a chance to celebrate my history, you know, in local history, man. And this morning I was thinking about who I was going to talk about, because I don't write nothing down yet, you know, I still got my brain working.
Good.
And so God laid on my heart to celebrate our law enforcement people and some of our first blacks in law enforcement. Mr. Gilbert Delahousie, the first black commissioned police officer.
Yep.
You know, along, and I hope I don't offend nobody, along with his crew, Mr. Honey Babineau, and I can't think of his right name, but his nickname was Black Rider. He was a police officer up there that walked the beat back in the day.
Yes.
And I know I'm forgetting somebody because I don't know him, Mr. Valerie, Roy Antoine, who came after them, you know, who rode the police. I'll never forget being a kid, watching him come to talk with my grandfather on that shiny motorcycle, and I remember me saying, I wouldn't mind being like him one day, you know, and we need more of that. And Freddie, I'm going to compliment you, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, for hiring our own first black chief of police.
Assistant chief. Yes.
Brandon Williams.
Yep.
You know, not to mention Terry Landry, who was the first African-American superintendent of the state of Louisiana State Police. You know, so my history moments ain't gonna always be about things that people in my community frown upon. We got police officers too that are doing the work and have done the work, and something to be proud of. So that's my moment. Thank you. One more thing I forgot. I went over to Rudy's Cleaners this week, some more history. And Mr. Rudy and Miss Diane, they're closing down after 38 years. And I asked them, I said, do you mind if I acknowledge you guys for the business that you've brought to this town, or the service that you've brought to this town, and how much y'all gonna be missed? She said, sure, please do that. That might remind some of them to come pick up their clothes. So thank you, Mr. Rudy and Miss Diane Delcom, for y'all service to the community.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Registration for Evangeline Little League is still open. There's no set deadline, but they're thinking probably early March they'll end it. This is the last season without turf fields, which is super exciting. Also, I appreciate everyone's support. The Pepperplex Commission, everybody that serves on those boards, Evangeline boards, for working with us as a city to make this happen and give us all the input that we need to get things done. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Could I say one more thing? About the program? I left one person out, and I don't want to leave the one person out. The person, his name is Garrett Grogan from Patterson, and he's the police chief in Patterson, and he'll be receiving an award at the program.
Thank you.
Can you tell him who's the guest speaker?
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. And the featured speaker of the afternoon will be Chloe Willis, and she's gonna do the documentary about her grandfather, Reverend T.J. Jameson.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have too much, but the one officer that we didn't talk about, since we spent a lot of time on police officers tonight, is Daisha Hughes, and she is our Officer of the Year. She is our Public Information Officer. She also is an investigator involved in juvenile, wears a lot of hats, and has done a great job. Has been with the department since it was reformed 3 years ago, has moved up, and is just really, so I just wanted to mention her because we started thinking about her, that she's the Officer of the Year this year. Other than that, we talked a lot tonight, so I'm done. Our next meeting is March the 2nd, and I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank y'all.